I'm guessing if you clicked on this video, you either have azaleas already growing in your landscape or you are about to add some azaleas and you want to know how to take care of them. So here is a super quick, comprehensive guide. Everything you need to know. We'll cover how to prune, and when to fertilize so that your azaleas can be the envy of your neighborhood. If you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Michelle. I garden here in Atlanta, Georgia. We are a newly zoned 8A, and I love growing all the things on my half-acre suburban lot and sharing all of the tips and tricks I've learned along the way with you here on this channel. Before we get into pruning, I want to show you what we're not going to do. We are not going to be using this. We are putting away the hedge trimmers, and instead we are grabbing... We are putting away the hedge trimmers and instead we are just grabbing good old garden shears. I absolutely love azaleas and I feel like they're a southern garden staple. They're evergreen. Many varieties will bloom twice for you. And for the most part, they're pretty carefree and I love a low maintenance garden. But one thing that they do, is they like to throw out these long, weird shoots, and it looks kind of scraggly. So the first thing you need to know is when to prune. If you cut these long shoots off at the wrong time, you are basically cutting off your blooms because the buds of azaleas are going to be forming on these branches pretty soon. The rule of thumb for any shrub in your landscape, any shrub at all, is to prune the shrub right after it's done blooming. So you can see all of these dead brown blooms. This has just finished blooming. Now is the perfect time to go ahead and cut it back. The easy and quick way, and probably the way that landscapers prune azaleas, is to grab the hedge trimmers and just go ahead and whack them back. What that's going to do is create a really leggy plant over time. And you've probably seen them around. You have a very full plant up top, but then everything below is very sparse. And the reason that's happening is that when you make cuts on any shrub, where you cut is going to promote branching. So if you're just promoting branching at the very, very tippy top, you're creating a very dense canopy, and that's not going to let sunlight pass into the center of the shrub. So over time, the lower branches, the center of the shrub, is going to start dying back, and you get a look that's fine, but it doesn't look natural or full or beautiful. So let me show you the correct way to prune. Take your handy dandy shears, and instead of cutting this right at the top, because again, we're not trying to promote branching and new growth right here, you're going to follow and trace this branch into the center of the shrub, and then we're going to cut out in the middle of the shrub. If there's already branching there, that's easy. Cut above the branch or cut above the leaf node. But if not, wherever you cut is pretty much fine. It will cause branching at the next leaf node. So you see, I took a pretty big chunk out. I went ahead and took this whole area out. Now I have more sunlight and the plant is going to be able to regrow some of those lower branches. It'll branch and grow back up and look great in no time. Sometimes I feel like it's helpful to see the same thing at multiple different angles. So here's kind of the bird's eye view of me tracing back the leggy growth into the shrub. I'm trying to aim for 6 to 8 inches. If that means taking out the whole branch, it means taking out the whole branch. Trust me, your azaleas will be fine and they'll even thank you for it. Now that you know what you're doing, I'm going to speed up myself pruning the rest of this shrub. I timed it for you. One shrub took me about 3.5 minutes. So not that bad considering this is something I only do once a year. Now let me show you a before and after of the shrub. Here's before, after, and then also from the top. So you can see it doesn't look bad or noticeably sparse from the top, but all of those gaps are going to allow the shrub to grow into a nice bushy shape. And if you're worried about cutting back too much, I wanted to show you this branch. This cut was made last year. You can see how it promoted 3 new branches where I cut, and you can see how much it grew in just one season. So definitely don't be shy about whacking your shrub back. You might be thinking to yourself, man, that's a lot more work than I was planning to put into my azaleas. And I don't know if it's the variety or what. This drift right here is Autumn Twist. I don't seem to get as much long leggy growth with this variety as with the Autumn Carnation over there. I'm also not an azalea farmer or breeder, so I can't tell you if it's the variety that shoots out that long leggy growth or if it just really likes its life there and that's why it shoots up. I will say for the most part, most hydrangeas in my garden have a couple of spots. Like on this shrub, I'd trim this, and that. 3 spots. So it takes just a couple of seconds. I do it now. And then since these are encore azaleas, they rebloom in the fall. If in the fall I see other leggy spots, I might take a few minutes and whack it back after the fall bloom. But for the most part, this is a once a year, maybe 10-minute job. Then when it comes to fertilizing, I keep it really simple. This is a giant bag of Hollytone. I buy this from Costco once, maybe every 2 to 3 years, and I feed almost everything with it. Azaleas, rhododendrons, hydrangeas, camellias, evergreens, blueberries. Many things in my garden seem to love acidic conditions, and that makes sense because here in Atlanta, our soil skews slightly acidic. And so it kind of makes sense that I plant things that like my soil type because that makes it easier to garden, and I'm all about keeping things simple. Anyways, back to fertilizing. I fertilize once a year around this time of year after I cut back the azaleas. The reason that now is the best time to fertilize is because after the azalea finishes blooming and putting on its amazing show, that's when it's going to start focusing its energy on creating the buds for the next show. So the plant is extra hungry. It's looking for all those extra nutrients so that it can create an even more beautiful flower show for you next fall or next spring, depending on the variety of azaleas that you plant. I don't fertilize them again in the fall after the fall bloom because I don't want to promote too much growth as the plant is slowing down and winter is coming. The age-old question of how much fertilizer and how to apply, I would show you right now, but it's rained and the leaves are wet. Honestly, I learned this from Jim Putnam. I grab a handful and I throw it onto the soil. And I walk around and kind of toss the fertilizer onto the soil around each shrub. I don't really do anything else. I let the rain take care of it. The ideal time to throw fertilizer around the garden like that is before a rain. If the leaves are wet, definitely don't do this because you'll see that the fertilizer basically gets glued onto the leaf and that's no good. So if your leaves are dry, go ahead and just toss around the fertilizer on the soil beneath and around the shrub. I don't worry about over-fertilizing because Hollytone is a slow-release fertilizer. You're not going to get that huge burst of nutrients like some of the rapid-release Miracle-y type fertilizers might do. So there's no risk of burning or damaging the azaleas if you put too much fertilizer. So I kind of go hog wild, and now you know why I buy a giant Costco-sized bag for it. I wanted to keep this video very brief and to the point. If I missed something about azalea care that you're curious about, definitely drop me a comment and I will be sure to get back to you. But that's all of the things that I think you might need to know about azaleas, so I will see you in the next video.